So, hello everybody. It's been about, it's been over a year since I started playing the flute, and I just thought I would take a couple of minutes and talk about things I have learned. Okay. Um, for example, this is Puddles, and Puddles is a wonderful old lady. She's 14 years old. But Puddles doesn't necessarily appreciate the flute. So, I think the first thing I could tell you that I've learned is that some animals do and some animals don't care for your flute playing. I mean, and it's not really about whether you're good or not, it's more about whether they can handle it with their ears. I think maybe her age uh, and her what's going on with her hearing. She's losing some of her hearing, she's losing some of her vision. So maybe it's just distressing because it's affecting her ears or something. On the other hand, the other dog that's in the house likes it and comes around my feet and hangs around, and so just be aware that some animals are not necessarily going to like what you're doing. It doesn't necessarily have to be the flute. I found that to be true, but I can pull the guitar out and Puddles will lay there all day. So I don't know, just my observations. Okay, Puddles, you can go away now. Alcohol pads. I don't know about you, but after I've been playing for a while, even if I wash my mouth, brush my teeth, all that sort of stuff, I can still get residue on either end of the mouthpiece. And so I don't always do it, but I try to make sure I have one of these alcohol pads around. I at least clean the mouthpiece before I put it away. But sometimes if I don't, let's say I don't do a good job cleaning or whatever, and I come back to pull it out the next day and it's got some weird stuff on there, right? So I recommend an alcohol pad. I need to practice what I preach because I don't do it that much, but just be aware that an alcohol pad is really great for cleaning off the mouthpiece, okay? And let it air dry. And while we're on the head joint, I don't know if you can see it. Let's see. What do I need to do here? See this little brown smudge? That is fingernail polish. Why? Because the crown, this cap, it's on threads and it was coming undone. So I found that if I took a little bit of fingernail polish, which I don't have fingernail polish, I had to get it from my wife, okay? But anyway, so you put some on there and it holds it together. Now, obviously, what's the issue? The issue is not only that the crown could fly away and disappear and whatever, but also that's an integral part of the cork that's inside. And speaking of the cork, I hadn't checked. I have two flutes. I have an Armstrong, which is a real workhorse. Can't kill it. It's like a Yamaha guitar. You buy a Yamaha guitar for $150 and that thing's going to last you forever. It's just the way they're made. Same thing with this Armstrong. But one thing I hadn't done is I hadn't taken my rod that has the little mark on one end, like you have the other end, right, that has the loop, and that's where you put the cleaning cloth. But this side, you have a little mark about half an inch up. And when you stick this inside the hole and you look at it, you look through the opening here and you try to spot the line. Now, I don't know if I can do this. I don't think it's going to work. If I had a flashlight on it, I probably could make it work. But anyway, you want that line to be relatively center in that hole. So I hadn't been checking that. And lo and behold, one day I decided to check it. And the thing was like almost completely to one side of the hole. And I was wondering why the Armstrong was, why is this thing playing so hard? I really have to work to get this thing to, it wasn't giving me decent sound or nothing. So I was able to realize now I need to move the cork. So I used this, I backed it off a little bit, pushed it in a little bit because I had to go that way, right? Obviously it's different if you have to go that way. Then you'd have to screw it the other way. But anyway, suffice to say, check the cork. Once in a while. Make sure it's in the right place, okay? Another little trick that I learned from, and most of these tricks I learned from my teacher, to give my teacher credit, okay? not every case comes with a slot for that rod, for this thing, whether it's metal or plastic, doesn't matter. Some cases, I ordered new cases because I just wanted to start fresh with these flutes, and they didn't cost much, but they didn't have a slot for the rod, right? So I put, let me take the foot joint off first. So I had everything in there, and I was sitting there and I'm saying to my teacher, well, now what am I going to do with the rod? And she said, put it inside of the body. So FYI, in case you didn't have a slot for your stick, you can put it inside the body of the flute. Doesn't hurt nothing. Little things I've learned along the way. What else? This is the other flute that I bought called an Opus, and I did a video on this. Hey, this is the new flute. Just had it overhauled. It went down to Tim Moran in Hamden, and kudos to him. He did a great job realigning the pads and replacing worn pads or whatever he does. He did it, and it's fine. It works great. This one has open holes, and I have plugs in certain holes, and I have taken the plugs out of other ones. So, for example, on my right hand, I have the plugs, I have the plugs in. On my left hand, I have my pointer finger and my middle finger. Those holes, the plugs are out, but the last one is in. So I have tried taking them out, putting them back, taking them out, putting them back. And I guess what I want to say to you is, when you get a flute that has holes in it, don't chastise yourself, persecute yourself because you need the pads. Or you don't, right? Sometimes it has to do with hand position. So right now my teacher and I are working on what do I need to do for hand position so that because I wasn't getting a clear coverage. I found out that my ring finger on my left hand was lazy when I pulled the plug out of there. And so I'm working with it, but it's going to take a little while, and it has to do with hand position. I'm okay top to bottom. See how the thumb is underneath the finger? Same thing here. I'm sort of in the right place there, but I'm not turned properly, I guess. So I'm working on that. Anyway, about the plugs, it's okay if you leave some in and take some out. Just little things I've learned, okay? What else? I think that's it. For only a year, and all the videos, you can see them, they're all there, that show you the progression, and I'm learning, getting better, but I just thought I would share those little tips. Don't leave your flute out of its case when you're done playing it, otherwise it's going to be black, like so. Here's one that we bought in an antique shop, just so because we wanted to hang a flute on the wall. Okay, no matter what, I don't know if you want to do that yourself or not, but we did. So, but you'll notice, look at how dark it is, right? And this is what happens to them over time. So put your flute away when you're done playing it, right? So it doesn't do this. Right? That's it. I think we're through them all. Talk to you again.